My name is Dmitriy Sokolovskiy. Pronounce it the way it's spelled. I'm Senior Vice President, Cyber Resilience at Semrush. Quick right of the team. We've just changed our name from Information Security to Cyber Resilience. So we're going to carry that name proudly into the future.
I really, that's eye-opening for an organization of your size too. It really highlights that, as opposed to maybe when people think of information security, there's that negative connotation in a lot of probably departments. That's really an interesting point.
There are several important reasons to change the name. First of all, the very first words are the ones that people remember you by. Like you don't have much to control once you start talking. And this is one of the things you can control before you start talking. You establish some idea of what is it that you're doing. Information security, in my mind, for many years, it's never been realistic. It was never possible to be secure. It was never possible to secure information. Just the name that got put together some point back in the day. The reality
is somebody not involved in security,
or may be involved, but back then the security was really you pull the plug and now we're secure. Okay, that's great. That's not the case anymore today. Today, if we try to be secure, we're going to get in front of business doing its thing, and that's a death sentence to the business and to us. And so, what we can do and should do, what we can measure and can consistently work towards, together with the business, is keeping the business, resilient to either cyber attacks or technological issues, both of which are inevitable. So instead of trying to do impossible secure, something that will slow the business down, we're instead working with the business to keep it resilient to what's out there. And the name is the very first thing we put in front of ourselves. This is what we do. We keep you resilient to cyber attacks. So I am Senior Vice President, Cyber Resilience at Semrush Incorporated.
Wow, that's fantastic. And I've known you for probably a few more years than I'd like to admit. Not only are you currently in that role, but I've known you as besides being a CISO in other industries, also an advisor to startups. You've been a mentor to other people in organizations. You're also an instructor as well, I believe, right? You've taught some classes.
I've taught for SANS. I've taught for actually some of the sort of self-created courses aimed specifically at this, how to sell to us better. I'm trying to educate the vendors on how to deliver the value that they carry. For sure, they carry a ton of value. They just don't always communicate it well enough to us. Communication in general, as you noted, that's the cornerstone of everything we do.
You've taught that course in previous SecureWorld's in Boston at 8 a.m. on day 2, where it might be a little bit light of a crowd, and the room was filled. I
was shocked myself. That was really cool to see. I was like, wow, all right, well, it's a little bit some pressure here, but no, that worked out really well.
Well, you've been a long partner with SecureWorld in terms of your involvement, in terms of your time, and I can't thank you for enough for that. This year, to go along with the story you told about the name change of your department, your session is titled Communicating Security Risk to Non-Technical Stakeholders. So drop a few nuggets of wisdom on why people should attend and any sort of takeaways they might get out of that session.
Thanks, Brad. Now that's good handoff. So this is a session that Kiwi and myself are going to be doing, trying to highlight the importance of communication, some of the basic things that we techies always forget when we try to communicate, the most common mistakes and the ways to get around them, potentially not make them in the very first place, or if you do make them, how to quickly recover and still continue. Communication is the foundation, the cornerstone of everything we do. I said it before, I'm going to continue saying it until I retire, and maybe even after that. Without communication, there is no cooperation. And without cooperation, every single initiative in the cyber resilience, or any way you want to call that industry space, is not going to work. If the business is not cooperating with us, it's not going to work. And if we don't communicate with the business, they're not going to cooperate. And if we don't know how to communicate, then that makes it very, very difficult for all of us to do our jobs. And that's true for both the practitioners and the vendors, because vendors are always communicating or trying to communicate with us. And again, oftentimes not following some of the very basic things that are important in communication, like understanding your audience, actually considering their point of view. Very, very basic things that we don't cover in the trainings and all the security trainings out there. Very little time is spent on communicating, on the importance of communication, and we're trying to close that gap with Kiwi.
And will the two of you be discussing the differences between, different modes of communication, whether that's email versus having a phone call or in a meeting, addressing concerns? As you said, I think the largest point is understanding other people's point of view and trying to communicate them on their level, on their field, how they like to be communicated with, even though it might be uncomfortable for yourself.
Exactly. We're going to cover the foundational items, why it's important to never stop communicating, what is strategic communication. We'll talk a little bit about internal communication approaches towards it. The fact that all communication is first of all aimed at yourself, then aimed at your people, and only then aimed at the actual recipients of communication. Communication is the way to crystallize your ideas. If you're not trying to communicate, you don't understand it well enough yourself. Until you try to communicate it, you will not know the gaps in your own knowledge, and you will not know the gaps in your own understanding. And with those unknown gaps, it's going to be very hard to achieve anything. So this is sort of a self-improvement tool for all the work you're going to do, not just the communication. That's why it's so important.
That's a great point. And it's not just a one-off thing. This is something that will help people to, no matter what point they are in their career, whether they're just starting in the cyber resilient career path, or whether they're they're looking to exit out at some point too. So it's a very
helpful
important topic.
Whether you're trying to convince your spouse that your haircut is good or bad, or whether you're trying to convince your kids to have the breakfast, or your CEO that a particular investment is good.
Yeah.
In all of those places, communicating is important, and for that reason, being aware of the most basic foundational items around communication is going to be key. And so we're going to try and continue this communication pathway into the future.
Perfect. Hey, Dmitry, indulge me for a quick second. Besides the proximity to your office, why is it that you choose to attend SecureWorld year after year and be such a big part of the community that we partner with in the New England region?
Absolutely, Brett. And first, let me say that the whole SecureWorld team is doing an amazing job at awareness, at education, at expansion of horizons for everyone in the industry. You are allowing us, the practitioners and the vendors, first of all, to meet in a safe space. First and foremost, this allows us to meet and not be afraid of each other. SecureWorld's, not just the one in Boston, SecureWorld's, to me, are a perfect size thing. It's not RSA level of crazy or zoo. It is not small. It covers all the necessities, different methodologies, different technologies, different approaches, different types of vendors. It lets you engage with all of those vendors, but on your terms. I feel like at SecureWorld, every one of us on the floor is in control of our own agenda. I have not seen that in some of the bigger conferences. You always feel like you're a little piece of flotsam just being thrown around. In SecureWorld, I feel like this is my place, and I feel like it's practitioner's place. At the same time, I've spent some time on the vendor side. I understand the importance for them of getting us in this kind of environment where we feel comfortable. And in that case, we're also a lot more open to communication. So this is very helpful for the vendors as well. If you're a vendor and you're considering sponsorship, I would absolutely, both hands up, I would tell you the Secure World is the place where you want to be, because we practitioners are pretty relaxed and comfortable. And that's what you want us to be when you want to give us some of the information that you want to give us. Of course, in a good way, communicating it appropriately, but still. So it's not huge, it's not too big, it's not overwhelming. It's exactly the right size. At the same time, it's quality. I don't think I'm trying to think back, and I've been, like to your point, I've been to a number of Secure Worlds in the past. I don't remember a single session that was like, I don't really, I was always like, the multiple tracks, and I want to be here, here, and here. Oh shoot, it's never oh, I'm going to go and pick this one because the other ones are not useful. It's always, oh, I want to be in multiple sessions. How can I be in multiple sessions? So that's what makes it a little bit tougher for us practitioners. But year over year, we keep doing it. And I think you guys do a really good job of involving the field. Our advisory board, I'm a member of that. It's a very active group. It's consistently assessing and providing feedback, and you guys are doing a really good job of incorporating it into the reality that happens on the floor. And so year to year, Secure World is becoming better, not necessarily huger, and that's perfect. You're like very, very nice, accessible boutique style is how I would put it. And that's, I go to these to be comfortable and relax while also getting in a massive amount of information and a lot of human interaction with people I want to talk to. So hopefully that was enough.
Yeah, no, that's more than enough. You kind of hit on all of our pillars that we try and hold dear to us, and that is one, listening to the community, not pushing our agenda onto the community, but really listening to the feedback of what practitioners are wanting to learn, who they're wanting to hear from, and what solutions they want to see. And that drives the build out of the conference. So you and the rest of your peers contribute mightily to that, and can't thank you enough. So last question, Dmitry. Obviously you're a very busy person with all those initiatives that I mentioned earlier. What should we know about your life outside cybersecurity? What would you like to share? What do you like to do to relax?
Relax. There's not much time for that. I have 3 kids, and these days a lot of time is spent creating their memories, as the saying goes.
Beautiful. Yeah.
But what I get out of it, and I think it's important, we don't. I'll roll this backwards to mental health for a second. We as practitioners, and actually let me touch on this here in general. Our whole industry is on the front lines. Many of us have officially been diagnosed with PTSD. Many of us carry it without diagnosis, and all of us suffer from mental stress that this job brings. We are the first responders in many ways, even though it's not considered by a lot of people as a first responder job. It really is. We are the front lines, the other side of which is official military units for many adversarial countries in the world. Taking time to pause and actually spend it with yourself, with your family, with the life outside of this mess sometimes, it's super important, and that's one of the best ways to recharge your batteries. When you come home after a long day of incident response or board meetings or trying to defend your budget or whatever may be the case, and you come home and there's someone there who is building their own set of memories, their own life, and you get to enjoy that with them versus being on emails, on the phones and everything else. Take that time. Try and cut that out of your absolutely busy schedule. You need a time, because if you do that, then you will be better at your job. So these days it's kids, a little bit of time for myself, maybe in the gym here and there, go for a run, maybe a hike. But it's just getting the family life to refill my tank.
Very well said. Yeah, being present is whether you're at work or at home is, I think that's the key. And we've noticed, unfortunately, the same trend. Well, I guess I should say, fortunately, people are more open talking about their mental health. And we've incorporated in every conference now a mental health panel with not so much from a medical standpoint, but driven by peers in cybersecurity who talk about their own experiences and tools and techniques that they use to just be right, and be in their own mind. So we'll be having that in Boston as well.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, Cyber Anonymous is definitely a thing that we have to maintain.
Yeah.
It's for years to come. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say, but it is what we chose to do, and we just need to, as part of our jobs, make sure that we are physically and mentally capable. And that requires you to stop working from time to time, and stop to smell the roses or taste the burrito or whatever it is that you do to just be present in that moment. It's super important.
Well, hey, we're coming up on lunchtime in your time zone, so I'll let you go taste that burrito. And thank you so much for being a part of the Secure World community, and look forward to seeing you at Secure World Boston.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brett. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys here as well.